Questions, questions, questions. And listen, the one thing about time, the one thing about human behavior and dynamics, and the one thing about the economy, nothing new happens. It's a rinse and repeat. And I'm not going to say history repeats itself exactly. However, it does rhyme. And we have so many different things that we could look at in the past to be able to predict what we could do going forward. And I'm not even talking about the fact that technology is here, because at one point in the 1800s to the 1900s, there was massive shift in the money supply. There was massive shifts in industries. You know, we went for the railroad, then we went to the Industrial Revolution, so on and so forth. All these things constantly happen. I know if you go back to Roman times, the way they dealt with inflation is they would do a thing called coin clipping. What is coin clipping? They would take the coins, they'd melt the gold down, and then redo the coins, would make them a little bit smaller. So if you had a coin this big, and then they brought it down to this big, you doubled your money supply but reduced your assets. It's been happening for a long time, folks. And here it is. We're going to talk about how once you're proper and you have the right kind of real estate, the kind that never fails, the kind that always works, and that's the real estate between your ears, we're going to talk about today, am I too young in my 20s to be a millionaire? And there's a lot of different things that lead to be able to have that as your platform and your baseline to get to where you want to go. But the first question I got to ask is, are you 29? Are you 21 and your parents passed away and you just got a big check? Are you 25 and you're part of a family business that is multi-generational? Or are you like Rob Gill, who was 21 and broke, who had no future, didn't understand the difference between left and right, up or down, and at some point you had a moment of clarity because you got shot at in Jersey City on a 3-day party binge, and all of a sudden you had the moment of clarity to change your life and began to read books and began to connect with people that had been there, done that, and surrounded myself with folks that I didn't know before. So let's get into it a little bit. You know, it always comes down to time. What does time stand for? Things I must earn. You always hear people say time is money. And by the way, those people that say it, it's true. I don't know if they're doing it themselves, but there is people that I know that I never knew before that maximizes every minute of the day while replacing themselves and creating scalability. It's not going to show up at the front door. No one's going to come and give it to you. The sacrifice between the hours of 6 and 10 o'clock at night is present. The sacrifice of, hey, listen, all your buddies, your boyfriends, your girlfriends may be doing this on Thursday and Friday nights. If you want to take that next step and you're in your early 20s, you're going to have to give that up. I got news for you. I promise you. Or if you and your buddies are aligned on some kind of business model, some kind of technology, some kind of company that's going to go on the internet and just do amazing things, then from 6 to 10 o'clock at night, you guys better be, or gals, better be working on that business model, because at the end of the day, that is the only way, whether you get money from family members, whether you get inheritance, whether you hit the lotto, in your 20s as you're learning the game, that's how you become a millionaire. So it comes down to mentorship. It comes down to action congruently with intentionality. It comes down to making beautiful, healthy mistakes. And those healthy mistakes can lead, or the seeds that lead to massive success, if in fact you don't make that same mistake twice and you have the right mindset around that mistake. For example, if you make a mistake on some kind of business opportunity or business venture or business partnership and it goes south for the winter and never comes back, and because of that, you're scared to take that next step. I know people that are 30 that don't have a driver's license right now because they're scared to drive. Somebody, somewhere in their head, it became something that they couldn't drive. We're fixing that right now, though. But the point is, at the end of the day, if in fact you can't overcome a fear on a mistake that you made, then you're not going to learn from it. However, if in fact you do learn from it, and if in fact you even go harder the next time because you're going to eliminate the mistake you made the first time, that's where you see these entrepreneurs explode. And it's always important as you're building out your business model or business plans or business strategies, whether you're in your 30s, 40s, and 50s, but specifically in your 20s, you put yourself, or you put the right people around you that are financial educators whose job is to be connected, whether it's the accountant, the attorney, trust officer, financial educator, any kind of entrepreneurs that would be on your board, that they are there in place for you and work for you and give you guidance based on your core values. I say it, and I'm going to say it again. If you call somebody that you're writing a check to and they get mad, fire them. If you call somebody that works in your circle and they get mad, and I'm saying with integrity now, not being unintegritous or inintegrous. If you call them and they get annoyed or mad, let them go. They'll come running back a week later. Trust me when I say that. So anyway, how do you build financial knowledge, right? That's the real question. So it comes from experience. It comes from reading books. It comes from being able to talk to people that been there, done that, take copious notes, make sure that you're measured and really intentional on how you're going to go take a next step. Think of questions that you should ask right up front, and always say to the person who's mentoring you or helping you or trying to sell you something, hey, Mary, hey, Joe, what is the question that I'm not asking that I should be asking? And that person, if they tell you that question, you know that you want them in your circle. If they say you've asked everything or they don't tell you, you may find out 2 or 3 years later why that actually happened, right? So in one of the links below, we have a do-it-yourself financial educational course. Go ahead and click the link below if you want to see that specifically or have a conversation with one of the team members here on Epic about that. It is basically, it goes over, it's a 17, I think, or a 28-hour video with 17 different videos, and it really digs deep into what you should do here, 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 all in overall financial planning for business owners, individuals, corporate executives, entrepreneurs. It's a beautiful, we put a lot of work and time into it. It's simple, but the information in there is worth millions. So at the end of the day, when it comes to being in your 20s, no matter what age, you always want to create a budget. You want to create a budget that's flexible. You want to have that budget match your growth. In other words, if you make 50 grand a year and you're saving 20% or 10,000, but now you make 100 grand, you want to stay on that 20%. Don't stay at the 10,000 when now you could be saving 20,000. Do not let the spoils of your success be the seeds of complacency. I'll say it again. Do not let the spoils of your success be the seeds of your complacency by not continuing to do what you did to get to where you are. The folks that consistently double down and stay in the process, and the ones that stay in the action, and the ones that own their own businesses, right? And the ones that want to be able to kind of put their money and deploy it in situations where they can get multiple rates of return are the ones that are winning. Divorce yourself from how the outcome is going to happen. Don't try and predict it. Stay in a daily process, one day at a time, moment by moment, on how to be able to put yourself in that place. Now, as I've gone through all that, whether it's budgeting, whether it's building financial knowledge through learning, experience, and mentoring, whether it's understanding the importance of time, things I must earn, and how time is money, now you want to look at proven strategies. And there's a lot of proven strategies out there, but I promise you one thing. The common denominator is consistency in up and down markets. It's consistency if you feel good or bad on a given Monday or Tuesday or Wednesday. Let's say if you're in an argument with somebody at home, you still got to bring it to work. Otherwise, if that affects work, all of a sudden now you're having a whole spiral, right, that comes and affects all parts of your world. So it's important that you remain consistent. Proven investment strategies are, once again, what are your core values? What is your investment philosophy? What kind of money are you looking at while you're in the wealth accumulation phase? In other words, as you're saving money, at least 20%, and if you're not there, get there. But then while you're saving, you don't want to wait till you're 60 to start using this money. What are you going to use that money for? Right? What kind of investments? What I would be careful of, and back in the late 90s, I was kind of like what you see people with today when it came to cryptocurrency or Bitcoin. I used to trade internet stocks, and I made a lot of money for like a year and a half, but it all came crashing down because I didn't have proper planning in place. I was just thinking because the guy that cut my hair gave me a stock that went from 3 to 42, and it happened quite a few times. It wasn't going to stop. Then all of a sudden you use a margin. And now when it was all said and done, I lost all my money in there, and it happened fast. What I can say from my perspective is I think that same thing just recently happened for all the folks that decided to listen to some guy that doesn't have a license, buy cryptos and buy Bitcoins at an alarming rate when it came to their weighted dollars. In other words, if folks had 10,000 in the bank, they were putting like 9,000 in crypto when they should have been putting 500. And at the end of the day, if you did do that, you're feeling the pain of that, but that's okay. It could be the greatest lesson you've ever learned. Now, interest rates in June and July went up 75 basis points each, or 150 basis points. We know that inflation's at 9.1%. We know that right now we're in a recession, and guess what that means? Credit cards are going higher, meaning the interest on credit cards are going higher. So there is folks that I know who are brilliant. My one partner, Sean Callaghy, he took $100,000 out of a credit card or credit cards to start his first law firm, and it worked brilliantly because he had done a lot of homework and research on how to sell with integrity and created beautiful ecosystem mergers. I'm not saying don't use your credit card to start a business. I'm not saying to do it. However, if that's the money that's available and you've I dotted and T crossed, understand the cost of that is going to be interest. And that interest 6 months ago is different than that interest in 6 months. Anyway, thank you for checking us out. I hope I added value today. Go ahead and click the link below if you have any questions. Feel free to ask questions. If you want us to do a video, let us know. And in the meantime, one of the team members here at Epic is glad to sit down with you, answer questions, philosophize and strategize with you, and really be able to, clear your thinking and put you on a mental mindset of what to do next. Thank you for checking us out. And every day we're dropping new educational content for your benefit.